Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's edition of Tech Daily. I am Jacob Bodner. This is your daily source for all the day's social media and technology news in a bite-sized, quick-paced form factor, 10 minutes or less every single day, all and everything you need to know right now. How to get a hold of the show? If you'd like to let us know what you think, you can email us at td@redtie.tv. Check us out on Twitter at TechDailyRTM. And I'm on Twitter as well, at Jacob Bodner. The way this show works is we talk real briefly about all the day's tech news, and then we elaborate on that tech news on the next episode of Status Update. That show will be available on Sunday, March the 11th at 7 p.m. So our normal tape time, we will have a brand spanking new episode of Status Update for you, and we will talk about all these stories and so much more on that show. So if you want some more commentary and elaboration on all these different stories, just say it. Comment section is how you can elaborate anything you want to know. But also, Status Update on Sundays is when we talk about all this stuff more in depth. And so let's get started with today's news. The first story up is about a phone that was really one of the best in show at Mobile World Congress that wrapped up last week. It's the HTC One X. HTC came out with a whole series of phones, the One X, the One S, the One V, and they're kind of HTC's more focused, streamlined edition, kind of like what Samsung does with the Galaxy series. This is kind of HTC's Galaxy. The One X is considered to be one of the best phones that's going to be coming out, and certainly one of the best phones in the One lineup. And good news is that the documents from the FCC's website show that the FCC has approved the HTC One X, which means it is now en route to the States. Now, we don't know what carrier it's going to be on, but reportedly T-Mobile has called dibs on the phone. HTC has done a lot of phones for T-Mobile, so that wouldn't be a surprise, but Verizon Wireless does have a history of snatching up some of the better smartphones on the market. So if you're looking for a new smartphone coming up here pretty soon, the HTC One X should probably be high on your radar. Everything indicates it's a great phone, and it's either going to come to T-Mobile or Verizon, it looks like, but you never know. We'll see. Also in today's news is a Twitter story about social media here, was that Gawker, this story, by the way, is courtesy of All Things D and Peter Kafka. All Things D reports that Gawker, the website, one of their reporters, Ryan Tate, got his hands on what he believes to be recent financials from Twitter. This is big because Twitter doesn't release their financials. They're not a public company. We don't have any idea how Twitter's doing financially. But this shows that in 2010, the year it started making tentative moves into advertising, Twitter generated $28.5 million in revenue. In the first 3 months of 2011, so the first quarter of 2011, Twitter matched first year's revenue at $23.8 million, so that's pretty good. In just 3 months, able to match previous year's total revenue. If Twitter's growth rate never budged at all that year, they would have brought in $95.2 million in 2011. The pace of Twitter's losses appears to have been ramped up as well. Tate says it lost $67.8 million in 2010 and another $25.8 million in quarter one of 2011. All this leads us to wonder, how is Twitter doing financially? We don't really know how their advertising is doing, and we don't really know how they're doing in terms of their expenses and their losses. This is from 2011. We don't know how it all panned out. What it does show is that their advertising, and again, it was in its infancy in 2010, and even in the beginning of 2011, their advertising was in its infancy. I don't think they're going to really see the brunt of their advertising revenue come into full force until they open it up to a wider group of people, which they're slowly starting to do. But the fact that they were able to bring in $95 million is at least showing they can bring in ad revenue, but they were also spending a lot of money. But this does show Twitter was bringing in money with ad revenue, but maybe not as much as we'd thought, and certainly still losing money while they were doing it. We will talk about that for sure a lot more on the upcoming episode of Status Update on Sunday. Also new today is a Pew Research. This is courtesy of Reuters. It says search engine users disapprove of personal data being collected for search results or for targeted advertising, according to a Pew survey released on Friday that underscored the public's growing concern with web privacy. The Pew Internet and American Life survey showed that 65% of users said it was a bad thing if a search engine collected information about searches and then used it to rank future search results. They worried it could limit information users get online and what search results they saw. An even larger 73% said they would not be okay with the search engine keeping track of searches and personalizing future search results because it would be an invasion of privacy. Just 38% of internet users said they were aware of how they could limit information about what is being collected about them. So a vast majority of people, for starters, not only don't like search engines keeping information for personalized results, but even further, a wide majority, 73%, don't like it if it's going to be used for advertising. I would be interested to see here what the reverse would be. So asking people, do you like personalized results? Not asking how you get the information to give you those personalized results, but simply asking, do you like personalized results? Then asking, do you like targeted ads? Because it's very easy to say, I don't want my personal information being used for targeted ads, and then turn around and complain when you're a man and you see ads for women's clothing at JCPenney's and you see them over and over and over again. Targeted ads are always something that everyone loves and everyone hates at the same time. So I'd be interested to see what the results were if it was all flipped around. But that's the new Pew Internet study. Also new today, ahead of South by Southwest, which will be taking place in Austin, starting actually today through Tuesday, is Apple's announcement today, and in coordination with Texas Governor Rick Perry, that they will be expanding and adding a new Austin campus to its list of facilities. This is from The Verge. They report the company will be investing $304 million in the plan, which Perry said would involve hiring 3,600 workers over the next decade. Apple will also be receiving $21 million from Texas over 10 years as part of the state's business incentives program. Apple's current Austin campus is rumored to have around 2,500 employees, and Perry said the new project would more than double the company's Texas workforce. So good news for Apple expanding in Austin, Texas. Not the only one there. IBM also has an office there, and Dell, of course, is headquartered in Austin. Real quick, if you're a Lenovo user, CNET is reporting that after 2 fires, Lenovo is recalling 160,000 ThinkCentre M90Z and M70Z all-in-one desktops worldwide. Lenovo markets the ThinkCentre to business customers, although they were available for anybody to purchase. The at-risk systems were sold between May 2010 and January of 2012. If you are at risk of a flaming all-in-one, Lenovo advises you immediately unplug your system before it goes into a burning inferno. They will ship out a replacement power supply for you. You can go to their website, which is in the link available for the story, for details on the recall, including if your computer is affected. And finally today, there was rumors that Netflix might show up on Comcast cable boxes. And that would be awesome for Comcast subscribers, but interesting move for Comcast because they do have Xfinity, which is their on-demand service and what they're branding their cable system as now. But The Verge reports that, well, that will not be happening. Netflix might love the idea of being available on your cable box, but Comcast said today it has, quote, no interest in offering the video streaming service. We heard on Monday that Netflix CEO Reed Hastings has been in talks with the cable giant and a number of cable companies about integrating the service into their boxes, but Comcast is the first firm to publicly deny any involvement in the partnership. Makes sense for Comcast. Obviously, that would be a direct competitor to their on-demand Xfinity service. Why offer that as an option in your cable box? Why not just bolster your offering in Xfinity? And Comcast has actually a really good offering and a wide selection of titles. Same thing for DirecTV. Would they ever offer it, considering the fact that they have their own on-demand library, a very large library at that? But not a bad move for Netflix to go into these cable providers and say, we'd love to be on your set-top boxes. For some of these smaller cable operators that don't necessarily have the big on-demand library that a Comcast or DirecTV has, this makes sense maybe for them, and we'll see if anything comes of it. That's your tech news for the day in under 10 minutes, 8 minutes and 30 seconds to be exact. You can hear the elaboration, more commentary, and all of these stories on the next episode of Status Update. That's going to be episode number 8, and it will be available, and you can watch it live, actually, Sunday, March 11th at 7 p.m., and it will be available in audio format on our podcast later that evening, actually, at redtie.tv/SU. There you can subscribe to the show on iTunes or your favorite RSS reader, as well as watch it live, listen to it streaming right there. It's really awesome, great, and grand. We will continue this show, it looks like, on Monday. This will be probably a consistent thing. So Monday the 12th, we'll be back with more information, including some information about what's coming out from South by Southwest, which starts today and goes through Tuesday, next week the 13th. Until then, have a good one.